Hi, I'm Chelsea. I'm DASA's adaptive yoga instructor. This is part 2 of our recorded adaptive yoga series that we're doing for the month of August. I'm really excited that you guys are able to join us today. I'm going over some of what our yoga sessions look like if you're interested in trying out yoga with us for the first time, or if you've been doing yoga with us for a while. We offer classes in person or online via Zoom, and that way you can kind of choose which option works for you. It's a little bit more accessible after the last year we've had. So today I'll be doing some poses. I will not be using any cards that I typically share on the screen. Sometimes this is helpful for some, sometimes it's not helpful for others. So today's recording will not have the shared cards, but we'll be doing some poses together and a meditation at the end. Typically when people come to our classes, we share how we feel at the beginning of class and at the end of class, and maybe just a fun fact about us if we feel comfortable sharing. So that's kind of the flow of our classes, and typically they're about 45 minutes long. So today's recording will be a little shorter just because we don't have the engagement of everyone with us, but I'm really glad you could join us. So we'll go ahead and get started on some awesome poses and just being able to try out some yoga. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my mat, make sure everything is good to go, and we'll go ahead and start here. So a lot of the poses that I show, you can modify if you're seated in a chair or a wheelchair, if you're seated on the ground. If you prefer to stand and do the poses, there's a lot of awesome options for you. A lot of my yoga cards kind of show both, which is really helpful. So what we're going to do to begin is just kind of wake up our bodies and see how we're feeling. So what I like to do is do some shoulder shrugs. So you can bring your shoulders up and lower them back down. And from here, do some arm pulses. So my palms are facing the ground. Then I can rotate so my thumbs or my palms are going, my sides of my hands are going up with thumbs up. You can do palms up to the air. And then you can also do some circles with palms facing the ground and backwards, just to wake up our bodies a little bit. And we'll go ahead and bring our arms back down. I'll be showing a lot of poses from the seated position. When you come to our classes, we have a lot of awesome props that we can use behind me as a bolster that we typically have in class that can be helpful. We also use yoga straps. A lot of the time, these are great. You can also use like a gait belt at home to be able to just help get a deeper stretch, or anchor to like a foot, and that way you can kind of stretch or reach towards your toes. So I'll be using those a little bit today. We have blocks, which are also really helpful just to kind of support your head or neck or something to reach towards. And then also like blankets. So if you're doing the virtual recording at home, you can use like a folded up blanket or a towel, a gait belt or a strap if you have one. I typically don't recommend using like anything with resistance, like a resistance band for yoga, but just the regular like fabric yoga straps or a gait belt works great. So those are some props that are available for adaptive yoga and that we typically try to offer in our class. But feel free to kind of try out what works for you. I always kind of give the disclaimer that yoga doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to look like everyone else. It doesn't have to look like how I'm doing it. But we do like to offer a lot of options that can help you and your body. So if you fall out of a pose from balancing, or it's hard to get into a pose that day, that's okay. Yoga is a great practice to kind of meet you where you're at and see how your body's feeling, be able to kind of figure out what works for you that day. And it usually can be different day to day when you are practicing yoga. So we just appreciate you showing up and being able to join. And again, there's always people who come to our class who are able to help you out too. So we have a lot of awesome volunteers that can kind of see where you're at that day, or if you need a modification, be able to help you. So after we've kind of stretched and warmed up our arms, we're going to go ahead and start with some stretches for our upper body. And so what I like to do is we call this the book stretch. So we're bringing our arms out to the side, and then we're bringing our elbows together. So this is how the open book and closed book looks. You can take a big breath in as you open, and a big breath out as you close the book. Big breath in as you open, and a big breath out as you close it. Go ahead and relax those arms back down. We're going to add some more poses or positions that kind of help stretch the back of your shoulders and kind of wake up some of those muscles back there. So typically what I like to do is start with like a robot pose. So I'm tucking my elbows at my rib cage. And so there's a robot, and then we can come up, and this is kind of what the airplane looks like with our palms facing down, reaching up for our open book, our closed book, elbows are tucked together, Elbows go and touch our nose. And slowly lower back down. Open, push the lever down to robot. And then another great one is like a shark fin. So you're kind of bringing those hands or your wrists to your side rib. And it kind of looks like this. And then there's your robot. So we can add kind of an extra pose there as well. So for this one, we're here at the robot, and then we're going to breathe in as we bring our arms up to the airplane. Breathe in as we go, breathe out as we go up to the book. Breathe in as you close the book, and breathe out as you're making space, bringing it overhead. Big breath in as you lower. Breathe out as you open the book. Breathe in as you lower to the lever, and breathe out as you come to robot. And then bonus breath, you can breathe in for the shark fin, and breathe out, kind of shake out your arms a little bit. So that's a great one to use to warm up your body. I really enjoy using that one at the beginning of our practice. Another great thing to do is we're going to do some like wrist rotation. So you can kind of bring your wrists together, try to rotate them like this, and then rotate the opposite direction like this. So kind of just waking up our wrists, moving them around a little bit. And once you've done that, you can go to some wrist flicks. So if it feels comfortable for you, you can kind of move your arms like this, moving your wrists up and down and going up and down like this. If it's better, you can do like some flicking, like you're flicking water away, or you can combine the two and move those wrists up and down as you're flicking. So another great way kind of just to wake up our hands and get some movement there. From here, we're going to go ahead and start with just some isolated stretches. So the first one that I like to do is the butterfly. The butterfly looks a few different ways, but what you can do is bring your arms behind your head, do a big breath in, and then breathe out as you tuck forward. Do a big breath in as you come up, and a big breath out as you tuck forward. So that's how your butterfly can look with your arms. Another great way to do it is with your legs. So my feet are touching, and I'm sitting nice and tall. So feet are meeting if it's comfortable. You can also kind of stack your feet on your ankles if that's comfortable from the ground. And from here, you can move your knees up and down. This is a good hip stretch if it feels comfortable for you. Sometimes from a wheelchair, I know this position can be a little trickier, but you can also try to put just one leg up like this if it feels comfortable to stretch, or bring it up like this from a seated position in a chair or a wheelchair. So those are the butterfly positions that we like to use. Another great pose that we warm up with is just doing some kind of hand squeezes. So we do call this the orange juice pose. So with the right hand, you can reach up, pretend like you're grabbing an orange, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze as you bring it down, and release that palm. And try it again with the left side, reaching up, grabbing an orange, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze as you bring it down, and release it. So on the same theme, there is the apple picking one where you can reach across, grab an apple out of the tree, and pull it over to the bucket. We'll do that again with the right hand, reaching up, grabbing an apple out of the tree, and bringing it over to the bucket. So these are some good like range of motion, just kind of warming up our arms. So we're going to reach across with our left hand, grabbing our apple, bringing it across our body, and dropping it in the bucket. Try that one again, reaching our left arm up, reaching across, and putting our apple in the bucket. So those are some great warm-up ones to do. I really enjoy using those at the beginning of our class. For the next pose that we're going to use, I'm going to demonstrate kind of using a strap a little bit and a towel. So I'm going to put a blanket behind my bottom, and that helps me to sit up a little bit taller. I specifically as a teacher have really tight hamstrings. So this is a pose that if you are feeling tight or have some more tone, it can be kind of tricky. But we're going to do kind of like a seated with our feet in front of us position. So on my cards, this is just kind of like a forward fold or reaching for our toes. So you don't have to touch your toes with this position. You can reach for your ankles. For this specific position, I am going to use a strap. If you're in a wheelchair and are doing a forward fold, you can always use the strap around your shoes, around your foot plate. So that's a nice option to have. It's a good one to kind of stretch your back out. So I have the strap around the base or balls of my feet. I don't want to be pulling on my toes or like the arch of my foot with my strap. So I have my strap in front of me. And then if it's comfortable, you can kind of hold here. And then we're going to take a big breath in, reaching up, and a big breath out, reaching forward. And just wherever feels comfortable for you, kind of putting your hand on your strap and reaching forward. So it's okay if you can't touch your toes. If you're not using a strap, you can always bend your knees. But this is a good way to kind of still feel some length, stretch the backs of your legs, and not really crank on your feet. So I'm going to slowly come back up from this kind of forward fold, pulling my shoulders back, and then I'm going to do it on the other side. So again, I'm going to readjust my strap if it's comfortable, and then you can breathe in, reaching one arm up, and use that strap. See if you can climb or walk down a little further on the strap, reaching forward, reaching towards your toes. So that's what you can use with the strap. You can continue to hold this stretch, and I'm going to show it without the strap. So you can bend your knees a little bit, reaching for your toes this way. You can reach for your ankles and slowly roll up. We're going to try it one more time. So if you can think about really pulling your shoulders back, taking a big breath in as you stretch up, and a big breath out. We're going to stretch forward and just lean towards our ankles and our feet. So once we've completed that pose, we're going to slowly roll up. You can kind of think about like hanging your head and rolling up, but that's kind of like our seated forward fold. When you're in a wheelchair or a chair, you can kind of melt over your knees, leaning forward and reaching towards your ankles. For the next part of the pose, I'm going to bend my left leg. So my left leg is going to come up like this. This is kind of like an adapted tree pose where we're seated on the ground, but using our legs to bend or have a wider base of support. My other foot is long in front of me. So I'm going to have my right foot in front of me first, and I'm going to do a forward fold reaching towards the right foot. So I'm going to go ahead and breathe in and bring my arms up. I'm going to go ahead and lean forward, reaching towards that toe if it feels comfortable, reaching towards the ankle, taking a big breath in and out here. And I'm going to slowly roll back up. So we can try this on the other side, and then we'll go into more of the upper body with the tree pose. So I'm going to send my left leg back down, bring that right leg up if it feels comfortable, have a wider base of support. You can also have it towards your ankle if that feels better. But I'm going to bring mine up just above my knee. If we were to stand and do like a tree pose, we would definitely not want to put our foot on our knee. So I have mine kind of adjusted at my thigh, not pressing on that knee joint. And we're going to go ahead and breathe in and bring our arms out to the side. And breathe out, reach over and touch our ankle. Take a big breath in and out here. And see if you can reach a little bit further if it feels comfortable. And then slowly rotate back up. So we've done both feet forward and then each side, bringing a leg up and bending it and reaching down. So we're going to go back to the other side. So I'm going to send my right leg forward. Left leg is going to be bent. This time I'm going to put it by my ankle. So for our adapted tree pose, I have this one as my extra support. If you're in a chair and it's comfortable, you can rotate and put that left ankle over the right as a good comfortable position. You can stay up more upright if that feels comfortable. If it's not comfortable, you can just keep your legs as is. So this one again is helpful for a wide base of support. We're going to put our arms here for our tree pose, and then you can think about bringing your arms up and out to the sides like this. So taking a big breath in and a big breath out, and then on your next breathe in, try to bring those arms up more strong, and then you can breathe out and bring them back down. So that's kind of how our tree pose will look. We'll try it again, and you can kind of modify where it works for you. We'll try a different hand position. So this time we're going to breathe in and bring our arms up to the center, and then breathe out, bring them out like really strong tree trunks or tree branches. Take another big breath in, stretch a little taller, and breathe out, bring them back. So that's our tree pose on the right side. If it feels comfortable, we're going to go ahead and switch. You can bring your right foot up a little higher for a base of support. Again, if you're in a chair or sitting upright, you can bring that right ankle over the left. So for this position, I'm going to have it crossed over, but sitting really tall. I'm going to go ahead and breathe in and bring my hands to the center. Breathe out, bring my tree branches up really strong, and take a big breath out, press them back down. We'll try that again. You can breathe in, bring your hands overhead. Breathe out, bring them out to really strong branches. Try to take a big breath in, stretch them up a little bit more, and breathe out, bring your arms back down. So those are the awesome tree poses that you can do from a seated position. I'm going to uncross my feet. From here, we're going to just go into a basic mountain pose. So from a seat, you can be sitting in your chair, your wheelchair, really tall back, and we'll do the arm position for that. Your feet just can be together, pressing through the ground, pressing through your foot plate. If you're standing, you can have them together. You don't want them quite at shoulder width apart, but kind of close to that, but really firmly anchored into the ground. For this one, I'm going to, typically if you're seated on the ground, you can have your legs in front of you, or you can have your legs bent if that's more comfortable. I'm going to keep my back really straight and do my mountain pose this way. So we're going to bring our arms out to the side. So you're kind of like standing at the edge of the mountain. This would be how our arms would be out. But then to add to the mountain, we're going to breathe in and bring our arms up and breathe out and bring them back down. We're going to try that again, taking a big breath in and a big breath out. And then let's see if we can hold that for another breath. So with 2 breaths, breathing in and out, we'll keep our arms up. So big breath in, scooping up all the air. You can look at the ceiling. Keep breathing as you breathe out and keeping those arms up. Big breath in, stretch a little taller to the ceiling. And then you can breathe out and bring your arms back down. So this is a good one that's kind of easy to do at your desk or on a break, if that's helpful. Definitely helpful to stretch during the middle of the day. I know we're a lot more seated nowadays, so anything to kind of move your body and get your arms and back in a different position can always feel really helpful and like a good stretch. So the mountain pose is a good, easy one to do from there. The next pose that I'm going to show is called the eagle pose. It's kind of similar to the tree. And so what you can do is bringing your legs in front of you. If it feels comfortable, crossing the right ankle over the left. If you're standing, this is a good way to balance and just having one foot over, or if it's comfortable from a seat and crossing it over. Then for the eagle pose, you can bring your arms up, thinking about your right arm going over your left. Interlace your fingers, your thumbs are down, and you can face them forward so that you roll up. This is a great pose to help kind of organize your thoughts, organize your brain for a minute. We're going to take a big breath in and a big breath out. And then we can unlock our interlaced fingers and come out, and you can bring that ankle out. Another way to do this pose, just for another option, is you can bring that right hand over your left arm, taking a big breath in and a big breath out here. Sometimes this one's also nice. You can kind of stretch side to side, opening up that side body a little bit. So I'll go ahead and unlace my fingers there. And those are the 2 options. So now we're going to do it on the left side. I'm going to bring that ankle over if it feels comfortable. This time I'll do the self hug first. So my left arm is going to come over my right. My left ankle's over my right. And just taking a big breath in and a big breath out here. I'm taking a moment to just organize your thoughts. And you can bring your arms out and rest them down to the side. We'll try that one again, doing the interlaced fingers. So my left ankle is over my right. Bring my hands up in front of me. My left wrist goes over my right wrist. Interlace my fingers. My thumbs are pointing down. I'm going to point them towards my chest and wind up. And we'll take a big breath in here and a big breath out. And slowly untwist the way we came out of our eagle pose. So from here, if you're in your chair or if you're in your seat, you can kind of bend your knees if we're seated on the ground, but we're going to do like a mountain to a forward fold. So what's helpful for this one is you can bring your arms out to the side, take a big breath in. There's our mountain. We're going to lean our nose towards our toes. So you can kind of melt over your knees if it feels comfortable. If you would prefer to have straight legs for this, you can have your legs straight, similar to our forward fold earlier, or you can kind of reach forward for this one. In my yoga cards in class, we call this one the river pose. We're just going to reach forward and take a big breath in and out here. And go ahead and rotate back up. Again, if you want to choose a few different options for your forward fold for this one, you can definitely keep your legs straight if you would prefer. So we're going to go ahead and try it one more time, bringing our arms out to the side. Big breath in as you're stretching up, kind of like our mountain pose, and then reaching forward towards your ankles, towards your toes, and taking a big breath in and out here. You can hang your neck down and kind of relax it a little bit. This is another one. If you were in a wheelchair or a chair and it felt more comfortable, props are helpful to kind of rest. So sometimes we're in class, we can have someone using a block or a blanket. You could rest your head down like this. That way your neck is not hanging too much. And have an option to not hurt your neck or make it strain any further to kind of help bridge that gap. So there's a lot of options with props and poses, especially if you're joining us via Zoom. I'm always happy to consult people on what they can get at home or what they can use at home to be able to adapt to their poses. So we're going to go ahead and come up to a seat again. We'll try our butterfly pose. So you can go back to being seated crisscross. And if you're in the seat, we can bring our arms behind our head And just take another moment to do like a forward fold where you're stretching arms behind you. Big breath in as we stretch forward. Big breath out as we come up and stretch back. Big breath in as we stretch forward. And big breath out as we stretch back. And then if it feels more comfortable to do your butterfly another way, we can bring our feet together so that the base of our feet are touching. And breathe in as you bring your legs up. And breathe out as you bring your legs down. If it's comfortable from your seat, you can stay in this butterfly pose. You can stay crisscross applesauce. If you're in a chair or a wheelchair, we're going to just do some rotation. So we're really thinking about kind of keeping our bottom glued. And we're going to rotate in just a few circles. So if we're thinking about our bottom being our base, we're rotating the upper part of our body while that base stays glued. I learned this in an awesome training, and I have loved it ever since. So once you've kind of done 2 rotations one way, we're going to go the other way. Slowly rotating around. And just another way to kind of take inventory, see how we feel. If this stretches out our back, stretches out our hips a little bit. So from here, you can go ahead and sit up really tall. And then we're going to go ahead and transition to a short meditation that I like to lead, and I use the app for it. But it's a really great one geared towards like teenagers, young adults. From the meditation poses, especially wherever you are at your house, you can choose to lay down on the ground, lay down on a mat. You can be seated up like this. You can have your eyes closed. You can have them open. So you choose what works best for your body, what you feel comfortable with. I'm going to go ahead and get the app ready, and I will turn my video off for that portion just to eliminate some distractions. But I'll take a moment to go ahead and connect that now. With technology, it always takes a little bit. But I do really like being able to share in some meditation, especially after doing a lot of great work in our yoga practice. Thank you for your patience. I'm going to go ahead and start the meditation, and it should show on your screen. That way you can hear it and see how much time has elapsed. I'll go ahead and begin that if you want to get into your resting position and take a few moments.
Exploring the body.
You can slowly bring some movement back, open your eyes if they were closed, sit up if you would like to very slowly. Go ahead and just take a moment, see how your body feels. Typically, we'll have everyone kind of join back in and share how they're feeling after our meditation. But I'm glad you guys got to experience that. I do use the app Smiling Mind. It is geared for different ages. So they have ones for smaller kids up to teenagers and young adults. So there's a lot of great options for different meditations, whether they're 5 minutes or 7 minutes. You can kind of pick which ones work well for you. And the app is free if you want to try it at home. But I really like using that. As we do more of these recorded sessions, I will have a few different meditations that we can listen to. But I really appreciate you joining today and getting a feel for some of the poses and how our yoga classes look. If you have any questions, please reach out to the DASA program coordinator. We would love to have you. And our sessions will be starting in September. So thanks for practicing this week, and we'll see you soon.